that smell like beer.
Hey, you there in your living room watching Matter of Opinion. We're right now going to go to an editorial from our next guest, Stephen Spoonamore, and we'll be right back with him as a guest. Because, you know, when I think of all the guests we've had, I think of our upcoming guest, who is Steve Spoonamore. Am I sufficiently stretched?
My name is Stephen Spoonamore, and tonight I'm going to be talking about a variety of environmental issues. Looking around at the simple, we often tend to ignore the obvious, and formerly I was using an analogy to describe one situation, the canary in the coal mine, to describe what is happening to world amphibian populations. Unfortunately, most people no longer know that miners took canaries with them into the mines when they went. The canary, you see, is extremely sensitive to changes in atmospheric chemistry. A slight shift in methane content, CO2 buildup, or a lack of oxygen, and your canary drops. This is usually a very good indication that human beings will be the next thing to go, and the miners will get out of the mine. Unfortunately for us, although our canary, the amphibians, is dropping, we cannot get out of or off of our mine. Since 1989, when the World Herpetological Community, those who study cold-blooded animals, began admitting the problem existed, dozens of cases have been brought forward. They all boil down to simply this. While I have studied the, and then a name of a species of amphibian for 25 years, and populations have fluctuated, they have now vanished. The world's foremost expert in high-altitude Pacific Coast Range amphibians, Dr. James Vile of the University of Oregon, was one of the first to admit this and found many of his colleagues too scared or shy to admit it. But between 1983 and 1989, documents are now showing dozens of frogs, including all 6 of his species, vanished. And this is in historically pristine sites throughout the Pacific Northwest. So developing a newsletter entitled Frog Log and bringing his friends forward, I blew it. I skipped the line.
Rob, we got visitors outside.
Hey, welcome back, and here he is. Our laughing self-expert, Steve Spoonamore. Hi, how are you?
Very much.
It's nice to see
It's
you.
nice to see you, and I'm very glad they ran the first cut of that, not the second, because it was much too longer than it needed to be. There it is. Good.
Now, what do you want to talk about
I
first?
don't know what we want to talk about. You want to talk about
Covered Bridges first.
Covered Bridges
theater
Theater
company
Company.
that you founded.
Wait, exactly, with a woman in the studio here, Lisa Roberts. She and I started that 6 years ago now, and Lisa
In
was
Montgomery?
Montgomery, Vermont. That's correct. And for those of you who may be fans out there, if there is a fan out there, well, there isn't a fan out there, but if there was a fan out there, no, there won't be a season starting in June or July, because it was bought up by land developers from Schenectady, New York, who are subdividing the land and will not write me a lease until August 1st. On August 1st or 2nd, I intend to open a 1 or a 2 show season, depending on what they allow.
And how do those sleazy guys from Schenectady approach you?
Oh, well, you see, Sonny and Rocco, they bought it through the FDIC because it was part of the First National Bank of Vermont. So I meet with these guys, and they touch you a lot. And you're not sure if you want to tell them, stop touching me, or keep touching me. You're not sure which one they want. But this guy says to me, he says, hey, it's obvious you care a lot about this place, but it's not about not-for-profit, son. It's not about even money. It's about being fair.
They, of course, suggested that if the theater thing wasn't working, maybe I should run a dance hall.
Hey, you know, country music is real popular. Real popular with people out here.
I thank Sonny and Rocco for their time and hope that on August 1st they'd be able to write me a lease.
So you've been squeezed out. Next topic.
I've been squeezed out.
Now, what's going on over in the Adirondacks that you're teaching this summer?
The last 3 years now, I've been the director of an outdoor education center where I take a lot of high school kids and teach them about environmental education and lead them on mountaineering trips.
What's the environmental focus?
Oh, well, we have 16 people on staff. 8 of them know a heck of a lot more about it than me. I'm the site investigator for our amphibian populations, which is why you saw that part of an editorial. But other than that, we study pond studies, lake studies, stream studies, a variety of geology. We do an acid rain testing program.
All in the Adirondacks this summer?
Yep.
And how long
well,
of a
no, it
program is
runs all year round.
Oh, okay.
It's all year round. We take residency groups for 1 week at a time. We have 72 client schools that send students to us. So.
Do you miss directing?
I actually have directed 3 productions this year. The Grapes of Wrath tour that went around the state of Vermont. I directed that. I directed a production out in Colorado of a vampire play that was absolutely one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever had to direct in my life, but they paid me a buttload of money. And
did you know it was shit when it was done, or throughout it you knew it was shit?
I knew, and they kept telling me that I'd be able to rewrite it when I got out there, because that's the main reason I took the job. I didn't really want to direct it. I just wanted to try and make a better script out of the thing. And basically, when I got there, they just decided we only had a week, put it up, and I said, oh, whatever. So that was it. And I also did a very interesting new play by Phyllis Naj at a workshop in New York City, which I hope to do later in London.
And now, which area, since you've been in the Adirondacks, you've been in Colorado, you've been here in Vermont, where do you think you want to take up rootage?
All right, rootage is a misnomer because I think the human population has about 25 years before massive die-offs start, which will be the editorial they run next week, and maybe I'll even get it right on the first cut, since that seems to be all the editorial booth here is able to run.
You've got to cheer up, Steve.
I'm the happiest guy you know.
You think we're doomed?
I, in fact, am pretty sure we are. UV counts are going up at such a rate that I don't think we've got too much longer.
You're upsetting Mark's mother.
I'm sure I'm upsetting Mark's mother. Hey, watch them melanomas, baby. Keep the sunscreen on the nose, the first place to go.
Mark, want me to pop him one?
Okay. Life isn't that bad. I mean, the fall TV lineup is going to be.
It looks hot. It looks hot.
You know, that Shelley Long, she's a pistol. She has her own show coming up.
She's a sweetheart of a woman. They're giving us teas. They're flashing us. We should probably cut off at this point, don't you think?
Perhaps so.
We've ignored
There he
them
is,
throughout this
self-expert Stephen Spoonamore on everything from Covered Bridges Theater to environmentally safe Adirondacks. He's going to be back and see us again, or his editorials will live on in our hearts. We'll be back with Jimmy Squire.
Moonlight in
Vermont, spoonlight.